everybody, I'm going to do a video about digging a foundation and what happens when you encounter a wet hole. And the neighborhood that I'm in is kind of notorious for having wet soil. There's a river that runs nearby. We're not too far from the lake. But when they dug the hole, it started to fill up with a little bit of water. And now that I'm here looking at it, you can see about 4 or 5 feet down, you've got water coming in, and then it's also coming up from underneath as well. So there's a couple of things you can do to combat this. And unfortunately, this isn't something you're gonna know about until the excavator's digging. So if you're building a home and you own your own lot, this may be an expense that isn't built into your financing because it's kind of an unknown. But this is what's gonna happen. Number one, if you've got a wet hole, there's a couple of different options. Number one is kind of digging out some of that mucky soil, which may require digging the basement deeper than you would have normally planned for. So if you were gonna have an 8-foot basement with 8-foot basement walls, and they need to dig down another foot to get down to compactable soil, what they're gonna need to do is bring in stone and compact that so you've still got an 8-foot hole and you can put your footings on a solid foundation. Number two, your garage and your porch walls. And yes, there are miniature basement walls underneath your garage and your porch. Now they're a little bit of a thinner wall, they're 6 inches thick, and they are 4 foot deep to get down beneath where the frost is gonna be. So in your garage area, in your porch area, if you encounter soil that's not compactable, they may have to dig down 6 feet or maybe even 8 feet, and then you're gonna have taller porch walls or taller garage walls, which is also going to incur additional expense. And just a question I actually had from somebody the other day is, what's beneath, if somebody has to do 8-foot walls beneath the garage or beneath the porch, is there actual basement underneath there? And the answer is no. So they're basically, where your garage is gonna go, and I'll show you this, they're gonna dig a trench in the shape of the outside of the garage, and that's where they pour those frost walls. And in most cases they're 4 feet. Again, if you've got bad soil, they may need to go down to 6 or 8 feet. But that's how you combat soil issues. Number two is you may have to put in a couple of sump pumps. If you dig a hole and it keeps filling up with water and you don't notice any water coming in from maybe the side wall where you can now see exposed dirt, but it's filling up from underneath, it's not a bad idea to do 2 sump pumps and then have a battery backup in one of those sump pumps. So if something happens and your main sump pump fails, the other one will now kick on and be able to take over, and you won't get a wet basement. The other thing that you can do, and I'll show you what we've got going on over here, we've got a little bit of water that seems to be seeping in about 4 or 5 feet down beneath. And so once the foundation gets backfilled, what's gonna happen is that water that seeps through 4 feet down into the ground is going to be basically coming in contact with the basement wall, and yes, it's gonna go down into the footing and into the sump pump, but if you've got water constantly making contact with the basement wall, you can do what's called a waterproofing system. And what they do, it offers a 15-year warranty, and I believe they have another one with a 30-year warranty. It is transferable, and what it is, it's a rubber membrane that they put on the outside of the basement wall before they insulate, and it's got its own drain tile system as well. So any water that comes into contact with this rubber membrane, it's not gonna penetrate it. And basically the water is just gonna get deferred, it's gonna go down into the sump pump, and that's what you want. If you're in a spot where the ground is really wet and you're gonna constantly have water sitting up against your foundation, you wanna make sure that it's not gonna soak through, and the waterproofing is what would take care of that. Now we'll go take a look here at the hole and look at the soil and how wet it is down there so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about here. You can see it's pretty wet there. This is what they dig out for, this is where the garage is going to sit right here. So you can see they don't dig all the way down, and they'll end up having a 4-foot wall here And you can kind of see where the hay is mounted up there, the straw, that's actually to insulate the footings. There's concrete footings beneath there, and with our cold Wisconsin weather, that helps keep it insulated. This is the cutout for the garage. They leave a plug there because after they put in the walls and they backfill, they fill the entire garage with stone. Now here too, because of the proximity to the lake, look at how sandy this is, like all sandy. So that's one thing you also, you don't know necessarily how the soil is going to be. If it's, in some places it's solid clay, in some places you've got sand. Typically you can kind of see the discolorations in the soil here. So the top foot is black dirt, that's your topsoil, that's pretty typical anywhere. But if you end up somewhere where the lot got filled, you could have that black dirt going down 6 to 8 feet, and that's when you got to dig all that out of there and put in taller walls. That's going to do it for this video. If you've got any questions, comments, let me know. This video is definitely, if you are in the new construction sales industry, this is good stuff to see, to learn, to know about, so that you can answer questions when they come about ahead of time and during construction. And if you were about to build a home, this is just something to possibly be prepared for and know how to deal with it. So I appreciate your time, and until next time, take care.